Recording in progress.
A glorious morning to all. On behalf of Salem School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKV MCH campus, I, Mrs. Hema Priyadashini, IQAC coordinator, feel extremely glad to welcome you for our 13th quality webinar series. Education is a process of training and developing the knowledge, skills, mind, and character. Today, in this session, Professor Dr. Mehta Joshi is going to enlighten us with the topic Mentoring for Improving Education Quality. Before going into the session, I would like to invite Professor Dr. G. Ramani, Director, School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKV MCH campus, to give the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Director, IQAC, VMRFDU, Professor Dr. P. Gnanashekhar sir. Respected Dean, VMKV Medical College and Hospital, Professor Dr. K. Eligandhan sir. Respected heads of the institutions of VMRFDU. Respected distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. Mehta Joshi, former Professor and HOD, Allied Health Sciences, Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore. Respected Medical Superintendent, VMKV Medical College and Hospital, Professor Dr. S.R. Rangabhashan sir. Respected Deputy Madam, Professor Dr. Shastri ma'am. Respected Director, Hospital Development Committee, Professor Dr. Karthikeyan sir. Respected IQAC coordinators of Content College of VMRFDU, dear faculty members and participants. 13th quality webinar series on mentoring for improving education quality, organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKV MCH campus. Our institution has always aimed at improving the education system to meet the aspirational needs of the younger generation, par with VMRFDU, UGC guidelines, and new education policy 2020. So we have organized a program on mentoring for improving education quality to bring on betterment of the faculty of VMRFDU. The speaker for today's session, Dr. Mehta Joshi, is the right person to talk about it, and I hope that everyone to utilize the session. Once again, I welcome you all for the session and indulge in the academic feast. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like to invite our Professor Dr. to give a keynote to the gathering.
Thank you, Priyadashini. First of all, let me congratulate the School of Allied Health Sciences, the VMKV-MC campus, the director and the IQAC coordinator for organizing this webinar, which is the 13th of the quality webinar series being conducted by the university. So we started this as a information bundle to be given to all our faculty to improve their quality in education, both in teaching, learning, as well as in curricular aspects. So this has been a wonderful journey. We started this way back when the pandemic was at its peak. So digital media was one platform which can be effectively utilized for reaching out to people and giving them the knowledge. And today, again, being one auspicious day, when we remember our former president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, today is it's his birthday. It's the right topic that we have chosen for today's webinar, mentoring for improving education quality. I would like to recall the words of Dr. Abdul Kalam. He has said that some of the brightest minds can be found in the last benches of the classroom. That is one thing which we should really understand. That is the basis of mentoring. We should be reaching out even to the last student in the classroom and see that he comes up in his life. That is the basis of mentoring. So I think the topic has been chosen aptly to commemorate the birth anniversary of our former president. I would also like to quote one more aspect from his speech. And there are plenty of things he has been speaking about teachers, education, youth, and all that. This particular quote really means a lot. See, he says, teaching is a very noble profession that shapes the character, caliber, and future of an individual. So we should try to see that he is not just telling academics alone is to be given to a student. It is not just a teacher's job to give academics. It is also the job to shape the student so that he has a good character, he has a good caliber, and has a good future. And if people remember someone as a good teacher, that will be the best honor given to a teacher. So these are wonderful words we should remember when we approach the students. So mentoring is, some people think, no, mentoring is not my job. My job is to go take classes. So that is just my job. No, it's not that way. Mentoring, the basis itself we should look at. The teacher is a second parent. And if you look at the 24 hours in a day, the student spends more time in the college rather than at home with his parents. So we are the people who are very close to the student, and it is our responsibility to see that the kid becomes a good citizen of future India, so that it paves way for the holistic development of the nation. So it's wonderful. We have the speaker today, Dr. Mehta from Ramaya. It's one of the leading institutions which holistically approaches students in all ways and see that they groom as wonderful citizens of the society. So I take this opportunity to appreciate everyone joining this webinar. You will have a wonderful session, and you should take home good information so that you implement it in your classrooms. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor for me to introduce the speaker for today's session, Professor Dr. Mehta Joshi, former professor and HOD, Allied Health Sciences, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore. Madam has started her academic career with a BSc and MBBS at Karnataka University, Dharwad, with gold medal in pharmacology, and MD in pharmacology at Postgraduate Institute, Chandigarh, with a silver medal. She has also completed MHPE from University of Illinois at Chicago in medical education. She has several academic recognitions like International Fellowship in Medical Education by Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates at UIC College of Medicine, Chicago, USA. She has been awarded as an International Woman of the Year in the year 2013 by MS Ramaya Institute of Health and Allied Sciences, Bangalore. Madam has dedicated her career for teaching with an experience of 42 years and had held several academic positions like HOD, Allied Health Sciences, Faculty of Life and Allied Health Sciences, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore, Head Quality Assurance Health Sciences, Director, Medical Education Unit, and Senior Professor, Pharmacology, International Medical School, Bangalore campus. She has also held the position of HOD Pharmacology in MS Ramaya Medical College, Bangalore, and as a principal in Billcare Research Academy, Bangalore. She has published more than 70 research articles and about 7 book chapters. She also have completed several courses like FAMER and VME. And she has completed certain courses like ITLS provider course and advanced courses conducted by International Trauma Life Support USA. and also LIS Auditors Course ISO 9001. It's a privilege to have Madam as guest speaker. I would like to invite you for the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for that extensive introduction, and thank you for inviting me on this special day, as was reminded by our chief guest of honor, that today being the birthday of our late president, very apt. The quotations that he has given are really, really very appropriate for today's topic that we are going to discuss, that is the mentoring in higher education. Can I share my screen, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible? Is my screen visible, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So let's look at how mentoring will help us improve the quality of education in our higher education. I'll be focusing mainly on these things, topics, that is first understanding what is mentoring, looking at the origin of the mentoring, the concepts of mentoring, the principles of an art of mentoring, what are the uniqueness of mentoring processes. Next, we will look at what mentoring process involves, what are the phases, what are the stages of mentoring, what are the roles and responsibilities of mentor and mentee in this process. What are the skills and responsibilities that are required for a very effective mentoring program? Then we'll look at what are the benefits and what are the challenges that are faced while conducting the mentoring sessions. And then finally, how we will try to see how mentoring very directly affects the quality and how it can be used for quality improvement in higher education. So we all must have at some stage in our career, all need some kind of a push or maybe some special person who will tell us, who inspires us to do better than what we know how to do, isn't it? So can you think of a person like this in your career who has really helped you to reach or set the bar a little higher, go a little higher, who really you look up to, Just think of that person in your mind for a minute. Now let's look at how this mentoring came into being. Homer in his Odyssey novel, he talks about when the king Octavius went for a war, Trojan War. His son Telemus was very young, and he wasn't sure whether he'll come back from the war or not. So what he did was he's kind of requested his friend, Mentor. The friend's name was Mentor. He requested his friend to take care of his son. Mentor was much elder, was very wise, is a great teacher, a philosopher. So he took him under his wings, and really that young man blossomed into a great person. So from that time onwards, mentoring has been associated with somebody who really brings out best in you. Now, in the current thing, some of you are cricket fans, so you know whom we are talking about, these two great cricketers of India, Sunil Gavaskar mentoring Sachin Tendulkar, another great person. How many of you are movie buffs, English movie buffs? And if you've seen Star Wars, you know about you know who this character is from the Star Wars? Anybody who knows this person? Who acted as a mentor? That is the Yoda. Yoda of the thing is the best mentoring example. Another very good mentoring example that we find is about the Zazu, character Zazu in the Lion King movie, animated movie. So we have very good examples of mentors. And as was pointed out earlier, one of the best mentors, I think we have an example is of our ex-president, Abdul Kalamji. So let's define, how is mentoring defined or how is it looked at? When we talk of mentoring, we understand that it refers to a personal developmental relationship that enables synergistic, purposeful conversation conversation to reflect on the experiences and to make uniform decisions and act upon those ideas generated. So here, it is a personal development. It's a relationship that is being developed. There is a synergy. There is a purposeful conversation. And whatever is discussed in that is taken forward. The new ideas are generated and they're acted upon. So when we talk about mentoring, mentoring is inspiring, mentoring should be motivating, and it's a challenging job, of course. Those of you who have been mentors would agree with me that it's a great challenging job. Now, when we are talking about mentor, the concept of mentoring, mentor can be abbreviated. The mentor could be described as a M, which stands for who manages relationships. The mentor-mentee relationship is a very special kind of relationship. It is not the teacher and the taught. It is much beyond that. He encourages, nurtures, he teaches, and of course, offers a mutual respect. So there is a interaction which is beneficial for both of you and who responds to the mentee's needs. Now, whenever I'm discussing or I'm talking about mentor and mentee, it is not just the students that we are talking about. It is not just the junior faculty who needs mentoring. So I'm talking for both these group of people who need mentoring, and what is the basis for this mentoring for both the groups of faculty and students? One is it has to be on the mutual trust. Unless the junior faculty trusts you or the students trust you to come out with their problems, mentoring will not work. Secondly, it requires a constant contact, regular contact and conversation. So there has to be a give and take. There has to be a dialogue. Then only mentoring works properly. And it has to be regular so that you can keep a constant watch or maybe be in contact so that when you meet the next time, you don't have to start again from introducing yourself to the person. So there is a regular contact and there is a conversation. And it is both of you, especially the mentor, should have a genuine belief in the process. He should know or she should be believing that whatever mentoring he is doing is going to be beneficial for the students, beneficial for the junior faculty, and it is going to be beneficial for the institution. So it's going to build up the institution. An institution which has a strong mentoring program is looked upon at a higher level, even whether you take NAC or whether you take any funding agencies. So by being a good mentor, you are building up the institution and you are helping both you and the mentee to grow in your field. Now, what are the mentoring needs and how does it help in higher education? In higher education, the students who are coming after +2, for these students, it helps the learners acclimatize to a new academic topic or a new academic atmosphere. Now, settling into the atmosphere or settling into the new environment is very, very essential for these students who have come from the school where the type of education system that is there is entirely different from what is offered in the colleges. So for them to settle down in the new environment, mentoring is extremely useful. Mentoring is also beneficial because it increases the likelihood of academic success. It reduces attrition, and the learners rely on the expertise and experiences of the mentors to help them decide on the maybe for graduation on time, and also making advance in their careers. Now, there are 3 principles on which mentoring is based on. One is synergy, second is relationship, and the third one is uniqueness of this relationship. Now, when we talk of synergy, it should be a give and take. It should be an enriching experience for both the mentor and the mentee. So it's about learning from each other and not just teaching. Now, mentee is empowered to take important decisions, important responsibility on his own actions. That is the synergy that is developed. When we talk about relationship, there is no power gradient here. It's a power-free relationship between the 2 individuals and not a higher up and a lower ranking person. So the focus is on developing the mentee's independent ability to be self-sufficient. And when you talk about mentoring, the uniqueness of mentoring lies that it in understanding the concept of mentoring and difference between coaching and counseling. Counseling is you just tell them what needs to be done. You are giving them advice kind of thing. Coaching is for a skill that you coach them to achieve that, and then your relation is over. Whereas mentoring goes much beyond that. It is, as we saw, it's a synergistic and it's on an equal level. And it provides direction in order to channelize their academics and their career goals in the right direction. So when we are talking about mentoring, there are 2 aspects which art of mentoring involves. One is the skills, mentorship skills, and second is the attitudes of mentorship. So let's look at each of these. What are the mentorship skills that we are talking about? We are talking about the skills which are required by the mentee, the skills which are required by the mentor, and both of these together, we are going to, for a successful mentorship program, we need both these skills to be developed adequately. Now, what are the skills which are needed by mentor? The mentor should be able to listen actively. This is a very important aspect or a skill that the mentor has to develop. Not be judgmental, make sure that the person is comfortable and you are giving him full attention when he's telling you, so that he is comfortable, it builds up the trust, and there is an ability to encourage also. When you're being a mentor, not only tell them what is best for them, but encourage them to do the best for themselves. You need to be able to identify the goals along with the mentee and then give them a reality check, because you are in the field, you know what is happening. This is especially when you're talking about your junior faculty, when you are mentoring the junior faculty, their goals, you may set up their goals or mentoring contracts with them. But these career goals, you can discuss with them in the light of the current reality, because you are more familiar, you are more into the field of that particular academic field that we're talking about. Then it provides a corrective feedback. Providing a corrective feedback or a critical feedback is a skill that mentors need to develop. Not just tell them they've done wrong. You need to ask them if they feel that they have done anything wrong, and then tell them how it can be improved and plan for a improvement and check whether it has been done. So your feedback needs to be constructive. It needs to be, the mentee should be able to follow up on your feedback. So that is another skill that is required for the mentor, or to be effective as a mentor. And then developing the capabilities in the mentees. You not only show off your capabilities, but you help your mentees to come up in their field, come up in your field also. So you need to develop that skill of capability of encouraging the people. They should be able to, you should, as a mentor, you should be able to manage if there are any risks involved, especially when there is a gender difference and when there is a cultural problems which come up. That time risk management becomes a very important skill that the mentor should have. He should be a good motivator, as we said earlier, should be a people's man, should be friendly, should be social, so that looking at the person, the body language of the person, the mentor, maybe the mentee is able to open up more freely. And then mentor should be able to reflect and do a proper introspection of what went well, what could have been done better. And of course, he should be able to facilitate and not just teach. These are some of the skills which are required to be an effective mentor. Now let's look at what are the skills which are required to be an effective mentee. So both mentor and mentee have equal responsibilities to ensure that the mentoring program is successful. So the skills which are required for or to be a good mentee is that, again, on the top list is the listening actively. Whether it's a mentor or mentee, all of us should develop this habit of listening actively. Reflection upon what is the meeting that I held. Immediately post meeting, they should be able to reflect and pick up what they're going to do, how they're going to apply in their future encounters. Willingness to take responsibility. This is an important skill that needs to be developed. The junior faculty should not fully let mentor take the whole responsibility of bringing his career up. No, it is your responsibility to ensure that you take the proper guidance from the mentor and come up. So for that, you need to ask right questions. Unless you ask right questions, you will not get correct answers. So what needs to be developed? So you need to work on what questions you are going to ask your mentor to get the proper directions. You need to be committed. Deep commitment is one of the essential skills. Unless you are committed to the mentoring program, unless you are committed for bringing up your career, this mentor-mentee program will not be very effective. Maintaining confidentiality and keeping trust, very important, because many a times this is maintaining confidentiality goes both ways, both for mentor and mentee. Psychological, emotional problems are discussed. So very important that you maintain confidentiality. Ability to take initiative, not only take responsibility, but you come up with ideas and then you ask your mentee, how can I mentor? How can I go around doing it? I have this idea. So you should not be dependent wholly on the mentor to give you ideas, but take your initiative and then discuss with the mentor. You should follow through and be committed. Commitment is extremely essential to make sure that your mentee program goes well. And ability to connect the dots. If mentor may not be able to be with you all the time, he might tell you a few things. So you should be able to connect the sequence, connect the dots and come up with the ideas. And you should be willing to learn. So these are some of the skills which are required by the mentee to be effective for the effective mentor-mentee relationship. Now, what we talked about the skills. Now, what are the attitudes which are required for mentoring? We said it's a balance between an attitude and the skills. So the attitudes, you could divide them into 3 groups. The ones which are required at the beginning of the mentoring program, initially, during the mentoring program, and as the closure or as the mentoring comes to a closure, what should be the attitude of the mentor. So at the start, this is the beginning of the relationship where there should be an attitude of building trust and setting up a mentoring contract so that you know what to expect from these meetings. During the process, this is the longest period that you're going to go through. So the attitude of mentor and mentee should be a positive attitude of encouragement and giving direction. So the mentor needs to be giving directions, holding hand, but not dragging him all the way up, showing him the direction. And as the mentoring relationship comes to an end or maybe weans off, I'll not say that it is going to be ending, but it somehow comes to a thing, maybe closing, then you need to make sure that the attitude should be of reduced dependability of the mentee on you, so that you make the mentee self-reliant. So your attitude keeps changing from first building up the trust, making a contract, mentor contract, then guiding, and then finally maybe making him self-reliant so that he could be a mentor to somebody else again. So mentoring, this is somewhat similar to the Tuckerman's 4 stages of group dynamics or group work. When they're talking about, these 4 stages, right? You talk about forming, storming, performing, norming, and performing. Now, similarly here, they're talking about 4 stages of mentoring One is the prescriptive stage, second one is the persuasive stage. Now, prescriptive and persuasive stage can be equated to maybe norming stage and storming stage, where you're going to, in the first step, you're going to be contacting and contracting, setting up boundaries, what is going to be discussed, what is not in the purview of mentoring, all those can be decided, and maintaining the confidentiality. In the persuasive phase, you are defining the boundary crux of the relationship, how it is going to progress, and then understanding what are the requirements of the mentor and mentee in relation to the organization. In the collaborative stage, we decide on maybe general issues, what are going to be discussed. They discuss general issues. You can discuss the specific issues which are specific to the mentee requirement of the mentee, and then you are ready for the discussion, future discussion on these things. And then the fourth stage is the confirmatory stage, where you set up the direction for your discussion. So these are the 4 stages that the mentoring can go through. Now, what are the mentoring domains which are specifically required for student mentees? As I said in the beginning, we will discuss both the requirements of junior faculty as mentees and student and mentees together. But there are a little subtle differences which we should be addressing. Say, for example, in case of student mentees, giving them psychological or emotional support is extremely important, especially when they start their career. Support of for setting up their goals and choosing a career path, how they would proceed in their career, maybe whether after graduation from your particular course, should they go for practice, should they go for further academics, all that can be discussed, and you set the goals at the beginning so that they can work towards those. Not only that, then you are going to give them academic subject knowledge support also, which will help them achieve higher academic knowledge and what is relevant for their level of chosen field, and then be a specific role model. So, is there a possibility to have some interaction here? Dr. Ramani, is it possible to get some responses?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so if you can recall the roles which are played by mentors in your careers, all
Yes,
of
madam.
you, so if we can get a few responses from the thing, what are the roles that have been played in their career by the mentors?
Yes, madam. It's, I can able to recollect. Dr. Rita, madam, she was actually my PhD guide, but more than that, she is like my mother, and she has guided me in so many ways. How to choose in career of my children, and so many ways
So she has been supportive,
yes,
both
yes,
psychologically
very
and
supportive.
socially
Yes,
also.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Academic, psychological, and social support.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else has got any other roles that mentors have played in your career? Anybody else would like to share something?
I think participants, if you want to share something, you can raise your hand. Probably we can allow you to speak.
Yeah, please go ahead. Okay, if there are no responses, should I continue my presentation?
Ranjit Jayachandran, you have a query. You can otherwise put it in the QA.
Chat box, yeah, put it in the chat
Yeah.
box. We can read it. Okay, literature talks of roles that the mentors play. One, they are the coaches. So they bring out the best in you, in your skills and knowledge. They are the counselors. So advise you. They are the advisors. Counselors could be psychologically, emotionally, they could be advising you. Advisors in terms of your career, your terms of academics. They're your buddies, they are your friends. So they will not only tell you what is relevant to you, as somebody rightly said, there's even suggested regarding your children, right? Because they're your friend, they're acting like your friend, they can go beyond the boundaries. That's why I said you need to set up the boundaries, what you're going to discuss in these meetings. Of course, they play a role of the teacher, they teach you, they are the role models. You look up to them to give you, or to say, oh, I'm going to be a good teacher like this person, so and so. Because when he comes in my class, I can just concentrate, listen to him for hours together, So those kind of role models these people are. And of course, they are the leaders in their academic field. And that will help you to maybe network and things. So there are many roles. You might find more roles than what have been described in the literature. Maybe you can add on to these, how you have envisaged them. So the characters of these roles, some of these have been defined specifically because maybe there are additional ones than what we spoke in the previous slide. Additionally, we did talk about the teacher who was changing the individual's skills and intellectual development. But your mentor could be a sponsor for by using the influence to maybe initiate or facilitate your individual's entry into the field and advancement into the field. Maybe as a PhD student, he has sponsored you to go into a particular field, the one which he is interested in. He could be a host and a guide by welcoming you into the individual, into a new maybe occupation or social world. And networking is another thing that will help being a guide and a mentor, and an exemplar, of course, like our role model. So mentoring involves motivation, and motivation for the students, for the junior faculty. Junior faculty, when they join the institution new, everything is different from the previous maybe institution where they have worked, or this may be their first job. So they're motivating for them to be actively taking part in various committees, or maybe actively taking part in various activities. Mentoring will help in that. Advice for their career, of course. Success. Celebrating success is a very important aspect of mentoring. When your student does something good, your junior faculty comes up with a bright idea, celebrate the success. Maybe go out for a cup of coffee, or I'd call him home for dinner, something like that. So celebrating those successes are very, very important to develop a good, trusting relationship. Of course, mentor will give you directions. You have to tread that path to ensure that you go, but the mentoring will help ensure, the mentor will ensure that you are going in the right direction. They will coach you, they will help you acquire new skills, support, mental support, physical, no, not physical support, I should say, emotional support, will give you academic support, help you set up the goals. And if you need any additional specific training, that can be done through mentoring. So you can see that all these activities which come under mentoring, or a mentor which is responsible or doing all this, is going to improve the quality of education by motivating the student or the junior faculty. Maybe say junior faculty wants to learn something new or wants to implement something new. So he will be able to advise whether this will work properly, maybe new teaching learning methods which will be able to really apply it at this situation, whether it will be helpful, advise, give a success, celebrate the success. Again, when they're giving directions, all these are going to improve the quality of the education directly and indirectly. So many of the colleges which have got a successful mentoring program are, that's because they have a mentoring committee, maybe a mentor coordinator who makes sure that both mentor and mentees maintain diaries. You know, there is a documentation of what has happened, whether it's a student mentor-mentee relationship or whether it's a faculty, junior faculty and a senior faculty. Both should maintain diaries. Documentation, important for NAC, important to see how their program is, maybe this mentoring program is progressing. That's also very important. Secondly, matching the mentor and mentee. You know, many of the mentoring programs fail because there is a mismatch. So it is the, maybe they can develop a kind of a bank or a repository where there are mentor, description of the mentors, people who are willing to volunteering to mentor, and then the mentees, we can match them. The third is training of mentors. We'll see that training of mentors is extremely important for the success of a mentoring program. So not only training, but follow-up of those training is something that the committee can take the responsibility of. Coordination with the other leaders if required. Communication between the supervisors, between the HR, the mentor, and the network that they are forming. That is all the responsibility that can be taken up by the mentoring coordinator. And very important, though it has been put up at the last, is the evaluation of the mentoring program. For a mentoring program to be useful to improve your quality, you need to get the feedback from the students, from the junior faculty, and of course from the mentors to see sorry, how the program is going, whether they are really getting benefits or not. That's a very important aspect, and that needs to be planned well and carried out by the mentoring coordinator. So for a success of mentoring program, what needs to be done? The literature clearly says the success depends mainly on mentor training. Now, mentor training, who trains the mentors? What is the training that is given? How long is the training? And is there any follow-up? All these will be very relevant to having a correct or appropriate program that will be very effective in bringing out the best of mentorship programs. So, okay, we talked about what are the skills required to be good mentor, to be a good mentee. We also saw what are the requirements to be a good mentorship, to have a good mentoring program. So can we think about what is where do the junior faculty require mentoring? Specifically, now we are talking about junior faculty. We looked at students, but can we have some ideas where you think the junior faculty requires mentoring? Any responses? Any ideas where you want the junior faculty to be mentored?
I think junior faculty should be mentored on basic classroom etiquettes.
Yes. Great. Correct. Anywhere else you would like them to be trained, or maybe mentoring is required?
How to handle students.
How to handle students, exactly. Because nowadays the students are, we all know.
So it's important that they should know how to handle students both inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom.
Outside the classroom, exactly. How friendly they can be with the students and where to draw the line with the students, you know.
Correct.
That is something that needs to be told. Other than that, here are a few things which again are coming out of the literature, where areas where training and nurturing is required for the mentees, for the junior faculty. One is publishing. You know, everybody is talking about quality research, quality publications. For that, they need mentoring. They need hand-holding initially in the stages to design a appropriate, maybe a research project, and where to send for publication, for peer review and things like that. So that's where the senior mentor will be of extremely useful. When it comes to students, handling of the students, of course, but also as a teacher, he should know how to design examinations, you know, not just look at the older question papers and try to follow what is being done. Assessing the students formally and in the summative examinations is a skill that needs to be developed, not to be biased or to be extremely maybe watchful of what the students are doing. So the assessing the students, the validation of the student assessment, you know, the student assessment need to be reliable and valid. So how do we make it valid? That also needs to be taught to them or told them. And as a junior faculty, participation in faculty governance is also important for them to learn right from the beginning, so that when they reach the higher level, they are in a rightful leadership position to command and demand respect there. Establishing research agenda with the faculty. Depending on what is your field of interest, you could develop, or if the junior faculty has a new idea, it could be, as I said, it's a great way of bringing in newer ideas and establishing maybe startups and establishing research agendas with the junior faculty. Discussion and critical examination of the basic values of ethical area. This is extremely important, as you rightly pointed out, how to conduct yourself in the classroom. Ethically, how to behave with the students in the class, outside the class. What are the ethical issues? What is the ethos of your university? What is the ethos of your institution? And what is expected of a faculty from the institution? Especially when the faculty comes fresh after graduation, and they would have, if they have graduated from a different university altogether, their perception, their ideas are entirely different. So making them settle down in your institution, your university, is the maybe responsibility of a good mentoring program. And then defining the standards of faculty performance. See, faculty evaluation is one of the important aspects that we are looking in the NAC also. So right from the beginning, if you tell them how to develop their portfolio so that all their activities are maybe properly documented, and that will help them bring out the best in them when they appear for their next promotional interviews and things like that. So if you help them develop their portfolios, nothing like it for advancing their career. And then, of course, the ethics of research, extremely important for them to be aware of ethics of research. Many studies show that people are not aware of what goes into publication research. So those are the things which can be topics which can be discussed with the newer faculty in your mentoring program. Now, these mentoring programs could be structured mentoring programs, or they could be unstructured mentoring programs. Now, if they are structured mentoring programs, they could be specifically for the general students, or it could be for special group of students, or maybe only for faculty, special group of students like maybe interns, or maybe special gender, or maybe special ethnic group, which are finding it difficult to adjust to your university environment. So there could be a structured mentoring. Now, sorry. If there is a structured mentoring, as I said earlier, you can match the mentor and the mentee. So there could be a formal selection of mentor and mentee process so that they are matched with each other. And then if you have a structured program, you have mentoring standards, and make sure that this mentor-mentees meet those standards. So you're giving them the guidelines, giving them the standards, and ensuring that they reach those standards. And sometimes it may not be possible to have a very structured program. In such cases, the unstructured program may be, especially for junior faculty, it could be an unstructured program, which has a limited mentoring offers limited mentoring services if it's an unstructured program. Especially for students, it could be where students can select the mentors. Now, most of the places where mentoring program is structured one, the students are told that you're going to go to such a person for your mentoring. We don't look at the matching process at all. Whereas, especially when we're talking of unstructured program for junior faculty, here you could, the junior faculty could select their mentors. And then there are more efforts to be put in to achieve the goals if it's a unstructured, because then you don't know what to expect from each other there. So for a successful mentoring program, it's always better to have a structured mentoring program where there are guidelines for both mentor and mentees, and they could be evaluated on those guidelines. So for a minute, are there any questions, or are there any comments for whatever we have covered so far? Before we go on to the next section about benefits and challenges that we face as conducting the mentoring program, and how we can correlate it to the quality of education. So are there any comments? Are there any ideas that you would like to share?
Dr. Maya Ramesh, I think you have raised your hand. You can put your questions in the chat box.
Can you read the question from the chat box? I'm not able to access the chat box here.
No,
Can
she has
somebody
not
read?
entered anything.
Okay.
She has mistakenly done
Okay,
it. Anyway.
no problem. Okay, so let's look at what are the benefits of having a mentor. Having a mentor will help you identify and achieving the career goals. So how do you set up your career goals? Maybe short term, long term planning. This will if you have a good mentor, it will help you set up your career goals. It also helps to identify and correct the gaps in the general skills and knowledge that you have to, so that you can achieve your goals. You set up your goals, but then you realize that the mentor realizes, or you realize that there are gaps. You can identify, he will help you identify the gaps and then correct those gaps or fill up those gaps so that you are able to achieve the goals. Also, having a mentor increases your confidence, because you can talk out with the mentor, see what can be done, what cannot be done. So they're increasing the confidence, developing and maintaining a broader perspective on your career options and opportunities which are available for your career development. That because of the seniority, because of the maybe experience that the person has in the field, he will be able to guide you or help you advance in your career and give you enough opportunities to achieve those. And then have access to a good senior role model, which you can follow through. Having a mentor also helps gain insight into the university culture. You have come to a new place. Having a mentor will ensure that you blend with the university culture very easily, and developing a mentoring and teaching skills. So you will develop a coaching and mentoring skills because you have a good senior role model and you can maybe follow the same style again. Benefits for the mentees continuing, that is, then you have a career enhancement, including higher rate of promotion, because you have maybe because of your good mentoring program, the research goes on very well, the research output is good, your presentations are good, so your promotional chances are good. This is again a research, many literature shows that the career advancement is better, promotions are faster if there is a good mentoring program in the college. Then there is an increased opportunity and likelihood of maybe staying in the same institution and the same university because of the relationships that you have developed with the mentee. Increased productivity and better time management also. Greater success in the maybe achieving the external funding, research grants. And see, many of the extra funding agencies nowadays ask you if your college or if your university has got a mentoring program in place already. So if you have that, then the chances of you as a researcher getting funds is much better. And then there is a personal and professional development. The personal development, including your increased job satisfaction, maybe deliberating better self-esteem, and there is a good work and home balance. And then there is a better preparation for the future and maybe for your high-hand career, sorry. and developing a networking skills, because your mentor is a senior person, has got good connections. You can also develop good networking skills. Now, there are benefits not only for mentees, but mentor also benefits from these things. So don't think that only you are giving something to the mentee and you are wasting your time in that. No, you also get some recognition from the faculty. If you're a good mentor among the faculty, also you become popular as a good mentee. Then there is a new perspective and insights into your faculty by being a mentor, interacting with them socially, interacting with them on a different level. You will get newer perspectives, newer insights into your faculty members. There is a potential for networking again through maybe your circle is different and your junior faculty circle is different, but because you have contact, you have developed good relationships, you will be able to extend your networking. Then there is an additional experience in staff management and development. There is opportunity for staff self-reflection and maybe personal satisfaction also when you become a mentor. And of course, as I said earlier, there are funding agencies, funding bodies which are looking at, they will give you good funding if you already have a mentoring program in place, and you will develop good mentoring skills by being a mentor. And not only that, as we saw, being a mentor, you need to be a good listener, you need to be a coach, you need to be a good people person, good facilitator. So you are also developing as a person if you take part in these mentoring activities. Are there any benefits to the university or to the institution? We talked about the benefits to the individuals as a maybe benefit to the mentee and benefit to the mentor. But even the university is benefited if there is a good mentoring program. And how does that help? It improves the communication between the individuals, between the groups of the people, or between the units. It reinforces the faculty's commitment of learning and development. It creates a breeding ground for fresh ideas and innovations. So new research ideas, maybe new teaching learning method, new assessment methods. If there is a good mentoring program, that's how it is going to be useful to the university and ultimately for bringing out the good education. It enhances your faculty's reputation through improved research, and ultimately this improved research recognizes the universities also, isn't it? Where is the work done? It's work done at Vinayaka Mission University. So university gets the recognition. Demonstrating to funding agencies that you already have one good mentoring program in place, and then increased employee productivity, motivation, retention, and commitment. With the increase in, with a good mentoring program, all these things are improved. Advantage to the institution: if you're continuing with the faculty mentoring, there is a trust between the faculty which is enhanced. There is an intellectual synergy created so that there is a better research output. There is a greater sense of purpose. Now, the basic faculty, small problems which might crop up in the faculty interactions can be easily resolved if there is a good mentoring program, and there is a better faculty retention, as we said earlier. What are the advantages specifically to the students? Again, student retention and student semester completion has been seen to be better if there is a good mentoring program. So the students dropping out from the program or students dropping out a semester and saying, I'll complete it next week is also reduced. Then student persistence in pursuing the course, completing the course, and there is a better alumni contact. This is again very important from your NAC point of view also. If you're looking at the quality of your thing, getting a feedback from your alumni as to how you can improve your program. This can happen if you have a good mentoring program, so that the mentor-mentee relationship goes beyond your regular classroom, even continues after the graduation or after they've finished their studies also. So that is another advantage to the institution, that you have a good alumni contact here. So when you have so many benefits, you are going to be facing with challenges, right? The challenges which are commonly seen are that there is a lack of training of mentors. We just say, oh, you are a teacher, so you can be a mentor. No, there is a difference between teaching, coaching, and being a mentor. Mentor is much more holistic, much more rounded personality. As we saw, that he needs to be good in so many things. He needs to be a role model, or he needs to develop so many roles. So there has to be a training for mentorship, which is not very easily available. That's one challenge. Providing mentoring to all students would also be a challenge, because if the number of students in your college are very high and the number of faculty which are available or volunteering to be mentors is less, then this becomes a bigger problem. Matching the mentor and mentee on the mentoring perspective could also, a common perspective could be a problem, especially when it's a junior mentor, junior faculty you're trying to match with the senior faculty, and if their perspectives are different, their mentorship relationship may not progress as expected. Limited mentor time or lack of time from the mentees also, and the professional expertise and or personalities mismatch, and lack of evaluation of the mentoring program. This is a big challenge. If you do not know what is working well and what is not, you'll not be able to fix it up. So you need to be really evaluating your program right from day one, so that you can make sure that the gaps which are found are filled up correctly. The challenges of mentoring, especially from the student side, they may not understand what the mentor opportunities are available in the institution for them, how they can utilize it. So mentor, as we say, the training of mentors is essential. Even maybe training of mentees, or maybe a couple of workshops for them to tell them what is to be expected from these mentoring programs is also very important. They may prefer a different mentoring style from what is being offered. Maybe, say, mentoring could be one-to-one, or it could be a group mentoring. When there is a group mentoring, maybe some students may not be very comfortable in being in the group and discussing their problems. So they will not be really achieving anything by attending those kind of mentoring sessions. They may want more time with the mentor, which the mentor may not be able to provide. And it may be difficult to develop an effective mentoring relationship, especially if mentorship is offered online. Nowadays, everything is offered online, including mentorship. It could be offered online, but then they may not be able to get the best of it if they are not trained how to interact with their mentors online. Okay, now mentoring can be a very interesting topic for future research. And we all know that educational research helps in improving the quality of your education, right? So what are the topics which could be, these are some of the topics which can be taken up for your research, educational research. One is, there are very few studies which looked at which are needed on the long-term effect of the mentoring. What is the effect of mentoring if it's long-term effect, and how students benefit after their college graduation. So that's one topic which could be taken up, and how much of mentoring the students is required so that they get the maximum benefit. That's another topic that you could look at. And the third topic, very commonly there is a question, do the students need mentoring only in the first year when they join fresh, or do they need mentoring throughout their college, 4 years of or 5 years of thing? So that's another topic that can be taken up to see the longitudinal effects of mentoring, or whether you can have two groups and one group gets throughout the course and another group maybe gets only for first year, and see how effective it could be. It also, you could study the effectiveness of the online mentoring. The other topics that can be looked at is what kind of a training methods need to be used for a most effective, beneficial mentor training. What are the follow-up needs to be done for the mentoring training, and what are the mentors' concerns? Nobody has really looked at how mentors feel about mentoring, So these are some of the topics which can be taken up as a research for furthering the mentoring process, and in turn, which will further which will improve your quality in education. So that brings me to the last part of my presentation, that is, what is quality in higher education and how mentoring will help add to the quality. Other than all that we discussed now, wherever possible, I did mention about how mentoring is going to be effective in increasing the quality. Let's look at what is a quality in first higher education. When we talk about a quality in higher education, it is defined as a state of reaching a required standard as prescribed by an external agency, and then that you meet these standards again and again. So it is not a one-time job that you reach those standards and say, I have reached the standards, so my quality is good. No, you need to maintain and show that you are improving on those. There are other ways of defining the quality in education, and that can be defined as a quality as value for money. So when you're paid so much, you must get a good quality education. Quality is deemed to be fit for research and teaching in the educational institutions. And finally, quality can be a transformative force for fulfilling the vision and mission of the institution. So quality assurance, as we all know, quality could be quality control, quality assurance, and quality improvement. We will talk about quality assurance in higher education as being defined by UK Higher Education Agency and by WHO. They define it as the totality of systems, resources, and information that is developed for maintaining and improving the quality and standards of the teaching, teaching, scholarship, and research, and students' learning experiences. Now, if you look at this definition of a quality assurance, you can see that all these can be improved, whether it is the research, whether it is the quality of the standards, whether it is the learning experiences, all this can be improved by mentoring program, a good mentoring program. Now, a quality assurance is a part of the integral part of quality management systems. We all know that, and it's a mechanism that is used to monitor a particular procedure or a process in order to ensure that they come up to the expected levels of quality standards. So here, by having a mentoring program, you can ensure the monitoring process, whether it's a procedure or a process. Monitoring can be done through your mentoring program. It focuses on identifying and preventing errors, right? So mentoring programs are very good for identifying the people who are in trouble, students who need psychological support, students who need emotional support. Those red flags can be picked up during mentoring so that identifying and preventing errors in order to produce a quality output for the customers. And this will be useful for building quality in your process, the product, and the people who are engaged in the activities within the organization. So basically, quality assurance can be brought through your mentoring program, because there you are looking at the process of teaching, you are looking at the product, and you are looking at the people involved, the faculty who is involved in the teaching part of it. So finally, when we're looking at the systems approach for quality improvement now, in systems approach, we look at the inputs, the process, and the outputs. What are the inputs when we talk about our education? Here it is the inputs are the target students and the essential knowledge that is required for them, that we are going to give them, are the inputs. The processes that we are talking about are the teaching learning activities, the teachers involved in delivering these teaching learning activities, the departmental subsystems such as mentoring processes, and outputs are the ones, our graduates who are employable. And the feedback that we get from the society and from the employers when our graduates go out in the field are going to give us a input back again into our inputs. So our output is going to be giving us inputs to better our program. So that's how a systems approach works for the quality improvement. And here, when we look at our output, what are the factors that influence the quality of the output? How could we look at a great quality? One is the institutional teaching learning environment. How good supportive is the environment? How much it is student centered, how much of it is the teacher is acting as a facilitator. So what is kind of an environment we are providing? What is the educational systems that are being provided by the university? What is the mentoring program that is available for the students and the faculty? What are the educational TL approaches which are being used? And what is the educational research that is happening in the university or in the institution that will go back into giving a feedback for the inputs? And finally, what is the program evaluation that has happened so that the quality of your input and processes could be improved? All this will influence the output of our quality. Here we are looking, when we talk of output, it's our graduates that we are looking at. So all these factors are going to be very important in bringing out good quality education in our system. So coming to my last slide probably. Mentoring has a short-term and a long-term benefits for both the mentor, mentee, as well as the university. A well-structured mentoring program for students and for junior faculty members adds value to your institutional ethos, knowing that you have a good mentoring program, you will attract more funding, it will be a conducive working environment. Student retention, faculty retention, student performance, and employability all are improved, enhanced if there is a satisfactory mentoring program. Because mentoring program doesn't stop at just telling them what teaching. They're also helping them apply for good maybe jobs, how to look for the right kind of jobs. All those will also be a part of your mentoring program. So they will reach the students will get a better job opportunities, and by appropriate mentorship programs, the quality of the outcomes of the educational program can be continuously improved. And that's all with just having a very structured, appropriate mentorship program in your institution. Now, these are some of the references on which I have based my presentation. Thank you very much. And I would be very happy if there are any questions or.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your enlightening and entertaining presentation on the skill needed by the mentor, role played by the mentor, not only for the students and also for the junior employees. Now the session is open for your questions. You can put your questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Madam, before someone asks a question, I would like to check whether do you follow a specific diary for the mentors?
Yeah, we do have handbooks for both mentor and mentees. And some other university also, I know that Dan University also, they have prepared specific handbooks giving instructions for mentor and mentees, and there are training programs for both mentor and mentee, orientation program for mentees, so that each one knows how it is going to go and what to expect and things like that. Yeah, there is a set program, there are diaries, there are logbooks, which are logbook kind of diaries, which are maintained for recording the mentor-mentee meetings and what goes in these meetings.
Okay. One more question, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at the teacher-student ratio, which has been accepted by UGC, it is 1:15. Some councils also accept 1:20.
Wow.
If you go by NAAC benchmarks, for the mentor-mentee ratio, to get full marks, the benchmark is less than 10, 1:10. So it shows that even if you have 1:15 faculty, but for mentor, it should be less than 10.
Yes.
So should we have external mentors rather than the faculty for this?
One is, first thing I would like to comment is that when we there, whether UGC or other, say, for example, medical, NMC, and they're all talking about minimum requirement. They don't say go beyond it, right? So when they say 10:1 or 15:1, is the minimum requirement that is. So if you want to reach the benchmark of NAC, maybe if they're saying less than 10, what, say, if you're starting the mentoring program for first year students, instead of taking only the first year faculty, you can also look at the second year faculty, third year faculty, like that. So engaging other faculty also in mentoring, not only that year's faculty. So you will have a more number of faculty available there. That is one. I would say the disadvantage of having an external mentor would be that they will not be familiar with your university ethos. They will not be familiar with your working style and what is your vision, university vision and mission. So your mentoring program basically is going to address all those things, issues, isn't it? So instead of just restricting, maybe in first year you have, say, 20 faculty members and 200 students, or maybe 250 students, you could also involve the second year faculty in mentoring that way. You know, one of the colleges, what they do is the first, I'm talking about a medical college now. A medical college, when the student enters the first MBBS, from first MBBS to final MBBS, now there are maybe 100 faculty members, 150. Those 100 students are divided among all the faculty members, not just the first MBBS faculty member. Up to final year, they have been divided, and they continue to mentor them throughout their course. The first MBBS faculty will be their mentor even when they reach final MBBS, and the final MBBS mentor who is there with them for the first year will also be continuing till the thing. So that's one way of handling this mentor and mentee ratio that is being advised.
That's right.
I hope that addresses your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I call upon Dr. C. Anjupam, Associate Professor, School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKVMCH campus, to give the vote of thanks.
Are there any comments on the chat box?
No comments, ma'am.
No comments. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. It's a matter of pride for me that I got a chance to thank everyone present here for IQAC 30 webinar series. We would like to express our sincere thanks to Director IQAC VMRFDU, Professor Dr. P. Gnanashekhar, for providing us with the opportunity for organizing a fantastic webinar series. Thank you, sir, for all your valuable support and guidance. We extend a very heartfelt thanks to the Dean, VMKVMCH, Professor Dr. K. Elivendan, for your constant guidance and worthwhile words. Thank you, sir. We wholeheartedly thanks to this guest speaker, former Professor and HOD of Allied Health Sciences, Professor Dr. Metha Anand Joshi, who spared time from her busy schedule to grace the occasion and share her knowledge with us. You truly made this day enlightening for us, ma'am, and you gave deep insight into the topic and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added to the glory of this webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We extend a sincere thanks to our Director, School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKVMCH campus, Professor Dr. G. Ramani, for her valuable contribution and extreme effort to make this arrangement webinar is grand success. Thank you, ma'am. We also would like to thank IQAC Coordinator, School of Allied Health Sciences, VMKVMCH Assistant Professor Mrs. Emma Priyadarshini, for doing MC and making all necessary arrangements for this event to happen. Thank you, Emma. Last but not least, we are very thankful to all the participants for the active participants. Thank you all. Finally, we would like to thank all the technical and non-technical staff who continuously work for the success of this webinar. Once again, thank you, one and all. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.